Hi, we're back in the kitchen. This is Connie at Connie's Kitchen at Treetop Lodge, and I've been away for a while. I mean, I've been here in the kitchen, but it's been crazy busy. Between that and weather and everything else, I haven't been able to get back to you guys for a while, so that's why I'm really glad to be here. So, we're almost to strawberry time in Michigan, so I thought I'd do some strawberry things today, and that involves just a lot of cutting and dicing. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to take a moment to get a little personal here. As many of you know, I lost my Daisy last week. Beautiful, sweet soul. Started her life in a real rough way, but through the kindness of some wonderful people, the Morrisons, she was removed from a very bad situation and came to live with us. And she ended up spending 12 of her 14 years with us. And it got me thinking. I guess it's very trendy now to think about, well, a situation has passed. What did you learn from it? Well, Daisy for me, these last few days, was the perfect example of what I've always called the promise. That when you bring a pet into your life, you're making a promise. And that promise is probably going to last a really long time. And you have to be ready for that. They're not going to go off to college. They're going to stay with you. Hopefully. You're going to be there to clean up their messes and to teach them. And you're going to get all the fun and enjoyment. And when they get older, you'll be cleaning up their messes again. And at the end, to me, the most important part of that promise is to be there with them, to thank them, and to send them peacefully on their way. And that's the thing that you need to consider most when getting a pet. Not just is it cute, is it good, the kids will learn responsibility, but are you prepared to make that promise that could last 10 years or more? In the case of tropical birds, it could last 50 years. You have to really look at an entire lifespan, and it's not always fun. You have to think about, if I get a chance over the next 10 or 12 years to take a vacation, where's Daisy going to go? You have to think about those things. So really, really think about that and be prepared and make that promise. And at the end, as anyone who has been there knows, it's not easy, but it is well worth it for a life well lived. I'm getting a little puddly. But that was my Daisy. She forgave everything that happened to her early on. She lived a life that was nothing but love and joy, and she shared that with everyone who came in contact with her. And for that, I will always be very, very grateful. There will never be another like her. People have asked me recently, well, do you think you'll get another dog? Well, I never went looking for one, or any of my animals. They find me. So maybe someday somebody will find me that will need me as much as I need them. We'll see. So thank you, Daisy, and thank you to everyone who has been so kind these last couple weeks with your messages and your hugs. I really appreciate it. It's meant a lot to Chris and Larissa and I. So there you have it. Now I'm going to make kind of strawberry vinaigrette to go with a cold chicken salad. So all I did was cut up strawberries. Now the nice thing I should show you, strawberries tend to get these little, of course I pick up a good one, these little bad, here's one with a bad spot. See the little brown there. But that's very easy to cut that away, especially when you're doing something like this, and then you don't have to waste the whole thing. Because all that is a little bad spot. If you look inside, it doesn't go very deep. So don't waste your strawberries. They don't all have to be picture perfect. So what I did was cut up some fresh strawberries into a pot here. I'm going to add some fresh lemon juice because, well, I just always put lemon juice in fruit. And then, strawberries are very tart. A lot of times when you're cooking strawberries or using strawberries, you add sugar or honey. I've been playing around with agave nectar. Very, very sweet. You use, like my friend Ginger said, if you use a teaspoon of honey, use a half a teaspoon of this because it's very sweet. But it's all natural. So we're just going to drizzle in some of that. And then we're going to bring in the savory. Today I grabbed some pomegranate vinegar. I'm going to put that in. Give it a good dose of that because I really want to get that tartness up. And then I'm just going to put it over here and turn it on. and let it start to go. And that's going to cook down. And whereas I've made fruit like that in the past and used it just the sauce, I'm going to kind of strain that off, and it's the juice that's going to come away from there. Excuse me, I think I shot myself in the eye with the lemon. It's the juice that's come away from there that we'll use to dress our chicken salad. So speaking of which, last night I was making up some other things because I still had guests here, and I just cooked up a couple chicken breasts in the oven. No biggie, a little bit of seasoning, 20 minutes on 350, flip them over, 20 more minutes, and you're done. And then you can throw them in the fridge like this and use them for whatever. So I know it's just terribly fascinating to watch me chop things up. So what has been going on at the lodge? Well, we had our shearing last week, our alpaca shearing. Matt and Katie, our shearers, came. They just do such a great job and make it such a wonderful, wonderful experience. We had Mickey and Rich and Dustin and Mitchell in the barn, and Nancy, of course. And then Stephen and Brian and Keenan joined us for a couple days to help out with the process, to make things move smoother and to keep the animals happy. And I'm glad to say this year we didn't have, I won't say injuries, we didn't have any injuries. When you shear a year's worth of fiber, you find things underneath, like possibly skin conditions and such. This year there was only a couple very minor issues. Everybody's fine, and it's all good. We had guests here for those 2 days, having lunch here at the lodge and going over and touring the barns and watching the shearing. So for that, I have to say thank you to Jack Curtis and Kim Booz, who came and drove the van for me and dazzled the guests. So it was a lot of fun. It's something it's a necessary thing when you have alpacas. You have to do it once a year. But we've managed to do it and have fun doing it. We had really good weather, thank you. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, and didn't rain. So Matt and Katie came back a few days later because they're still shearing in the area and stayed here at the lodge and visited with me a bit. And that was fun because they are just really two of the most genuinely kind, caring, nice people you're ever going to meet. So I'm going to continue, get the rest of this chicken chopped up because I realize that this is exciting, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I'll see you back here in just a couple of minutes, and we'll go on to the next step.
What could you lose in a home fire? Your possessions? Your home? Your memories? Don't let your world go up in smoke. Make sure you have working smoke alarms, and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures, because fire is everyone's fight.
So we're back, and I think we've got some nice juice going. I'm gonna smell it. Ah, it smells good. It smells like fresh strawberry and the tang from the vinegar and a little bit of the citrus coming out from the lemon. So I'm gonna take that, and this is not the most practical way to do this, but what I want at this point is the juice that I've cooked off of there, and there won't be a lot. I didn't cook it a lot. I'm just kind of doing this for demonstration purposes. Oh, excuse me, that's hot. And then, for lack of anything better, I got some juice, and I'm just going to push this out a little bit, get a little bit more of this juice. Now, I'm not going to throw these strawberries away because I'm going to do something else with them. We don't waste anything if we don't have to. And that's all still good stuff. It's just that it's solid, and I don't want the solid right now. So we're just going to take what's left, which is almost like pulp, but it's still luscious. Set that over there. And what we have is the essence, just the strawberry juice and the bit of the, in this case, pomegranate, and some of the agave nectar and some lemon. So pretty much that's it. But because I want to make it just a little bit more interesting, because don't I always, Look, it's not a red onion, it's a green onion. Yes, I do occasionally cook with things other than red onions. So gosh, what else has been going on up here? Well, we've got next week is the Tough Mudder, which is coming to Oxford for the first time. And people keep asking me what it is. It seems to be not a race so much as a competition. It's all about endurance and obstacles and everything else. And there's a lot of people expected. And a lot of people are coming. Matter of fact, we are booked solid for the entire weekend. People are coming up to stay here and in most cases have their meals here and go and participate in the Mudder on Saturday and Sunday. So I have a feeling that Oxford's going to be absolutely crazy because not only do we have the Tough Mudder, but the big lacrosse tournament. So I'm coming up here and I'm not leaving until Monday. And that way I don't have to deal with any of it. But the advantage my guests will have is they don't have to drive through all the traffic and congestion downtown because I'm going to direct them out Lake George to Lakeville Road so they can come up on the Mudder site at Koenig Gravel from the opposite side and not have that mess. So see, there's all sorts of advantages to coming to stay at the lodge. We've got a lot of scrapbooking coming up. I've got groups booking like crazy. So if you're looking for scrapbooking dates, give me a call because that goes quick. But could almost always work something out. And we've got some showers coming. We've got a wine dinner coming on June 11th. We haven't had a wine dinner in about a month or so. I'm really looking forward to it. I kind of created a recipe. I do some private chefing now for some people. And I got a little crazy and made basically a chicken breast, but this was the sauce. I sauteed fresh pears and dates in whiskey and butter and let it brown and caramelize, and you got the smokiness. And oh, so good. So I have a feeling that's going to be the main course. But of course, you know, it's a couple weeks away, so I'm not absolutely certain yet. But that's June 11th, and it's almost sold out, but by the time you see this, there might still be seats, so give me a call. And remember, we can always arrange something like that for you. Choose your own date, form your own group. It doesn't have to be the days that I set up. This is straight kale. I haven't completely made the jump to straight kale, but I'm trying. And I have found that when I add really strong flavors to it, kale's kind of bitter, and it takes some of that bitterness away. Now, this is all washed, of course, but the one thing I noticed, when I buy fresh kale, I take all this rib out. A lot of times, if you buy it like this, it don't necessarily do that. So I like to just take a minute because that's kind of chewy. So we'll take some of those ribs out. And of course, it's never too early to think about the holidays. I mean, we're not quite warm weather yet, but you'd be amazed at how quickly time goes. And it's like the people with the Tough Mudder. The people that booked me out were the first on the list, and they called a couple of months ago. So you don't want to wait if there's something you want to do. You can always give me a call at 248-933-4579. Hit me up on Facebook, Treetop Lodge, Oxford, and take a look at our gorgeous website. The website will tell you all about the lodge and give you pictures and such. We don't update the website regularly. Updated information is on our Facebook page. But like I said, you can always call me too. Or like a lot of people have been doing recently, just flag me down around town. So, make a nice bed of kale and some of our seasoned chicken. Just a little bit there. This would make a nice quick lunch. You could make this up, put it right back in the container, take it with you. Or a nice supper. Maybe a little bit of toasted focaccia bread on the side. Gotta have some onions. And I want to grab tomato. Get the stuff out of my way. And oh my goodness. That smells so good. So good. Now this might seem odd, but you never know till you try it. Try a little bit of these. These are Campari tomatoes. I'm not sure what the brand means, but they are so good. They're so sweet. And you have to get that nice bite of acid to play off the sweetness of the strawberries, and it's wonderful. So there you have that. And now, I should probably grab a spoon. Excuse me. Normally I pour this directly into a cup, so I can pour it, but I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to do this and just kind of drizzle it all over. And that makes a nice, fresh, cool chicken strawberry salad. I'm going to do something real wicked right now. Oh, it's like dessert, but it's not, so you can get away with it. All the tang in there is wonderful. You know what? I'm not going to cut that up. And there we have that. And I grabbed a fork. So I'm going to think about it during the break. And when we come back, I'm going to do something with what we had left with the strawberries. Because we don't, we don't waste anything. Honestly, you haven't lived until you've had some of the strawberry drizzle on a fresh tomato. Yum, yum, yum. So come back in a few minutes. And we'll do something with the strawberries.
Hi, my name is W. Ripto. I'm a member of the Addison Township Fire Department. I'm a lieutenant here. I've been here for 13 years. Today, we're going to talk about address signs and having your driveway properly marked and making sure that when there's an emergency, we're going to get there quickly and safely to help you with your emergency. Here are some things that we need to keep in mind when you mark your driveway and or your mailbox. In some situations, you may have to mark both your mailbox and your driveway. In situations where your driveway is across the street from your mailbox, or if you have a shared driveway where multiple houses are on your driveway, or if your driveway splits off into 2 or 3 areas, wherever it splits, you might want to have an address sign marking what side to go on, whether it's left or right or straight or however you need to do it. It's going to make our job a lot easier to get to you in that state of emergency. A few other things to keep in mind is you can have your address sign vertically or you can have it displayed horizontally. We highly suggest that you mark both sides of your address so that whenever we're coming from the north or the south or the east or the west, we can see that driveway on both sides. In our engines, in our ambulances, we have our map books. And in our map books, we have very detailed oriented pictures showing exactly where the addresses are. But having that marked, your address sign marked or your driveway marked will definitely ease us in finding your address in that state of emergency. Okay? In the map book, we have all of our hydrants marked, we have all of our streets marked, and it makes it a lot easier for us to find. So that's typically the officer's job, sitting in the officer seat. He grabs the map book and verifies with the driver exactly where we're going. And we have also a blown up section showing real quick and easy how to find your address on one sheet of paper. Instead of flipping through the book, we can go through your section and find exactly where we need to go. Okay, the address signs are $15 a piece. You can call the station at 248-628-5600 and request to have one filled out, or you can come to the station and have one filled out yourself. They're $15 a piece again, and it's definitely a good thing to have for your driveway and for us if we ever need to get there. Thank you very much for your time today. Again, my name is W. Ripto with the Addison Township Fire Department. Thank you and have a good day.
So normally at this point I have a finished plate and then I do something else. Well, this was really good and so we finished it. So there's your finished plate. All right, so I want to do a quick dessert. I wanted to tell you real quick, I don't know if you saw over here in the pictures, I put a couple strawberries here. Daisy was a very polite dog. We didn't give her a lot of snitches and stuff, but every once in a while something would hit the floor, and she was always on the border of the kitchen. And one day I was cutting strawberries, and one hit the floor. And she looked, I said, okay, and she came and got it. And she picked it up, kind of looked, walked out of the room, had her back to me. Well, Daisy was the kind that if she didn't like something, she didn't want you to know it, so she would try to hide it. So I said, Daisy, honey, do you like the strawberry? And she turned around, and had this big strawberry in her mouth. It looked like a set of fake lips. And she was just looking at me like, oh yeah, I love, but she wouldn't bite down. So it was silly, but I was cutting strawberries today and that made me think of that. All right, so I had just cooked up a couple pieces of bacon. So I've got, of course, because what day is complete without bacon? So I've got just a little bit of bacon grease left in this little skillet. This little skillet does not like to balance on the burner. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these dessert shells, which I've used on the show before. And I'm going to just brown them slightly in bacon grease. Yum. And this would make either like a nice dessert. You could throw some whipped cream on it. Or a little breakfast treat. Either way. Or, lunch or any time of the day. As you can see, as usual, I like to use up everything we're using. One thing leads to another. So I'm just going to get a little bit of the bacon grease going there. Let it sizzle a little bit. There's the bacon. And then while that's sizzling and I'm listening to it, I took what was left of the strawberries. While it was still warm, I melted a little bit of dark chocolate into it. And now just to add a touch more sweet. This is Kimura, which is a coffee liqueur. It's going to add just a little bit to that while it's all still nice and warm. Mix that up. And I could just eat this right out of the pan, but that would be wrong, so I won't do it. So let me check these. These don't take but a minute. I did this for the shears the other day and got distracted for a few seconds. That's all it took. So these aren't cooking through or anything. I just want to get that. We'll leave that one for later. Luckily I made two. There we go. Just want to get that little glaze on there. Okay, there we go, because I didn't want to actually step on it, make a mess. God forbid. All right. Now we're going to top it with some of this luscious. Oh, and it sizzles when it hits. Just top it. I always like to drizzle some off the side. I don't know. It's more picturesque, I guess. And crumble some bacon. Because after all, I've got the bacon cooked. I don't want it going to waste. And again, we have a nice little strawberry plate. And as soon as I find my fork, because I'm hungry and the salad wasn't enough, I'm going to taste. This is like amped up strawberry shortcake. Honest to goodness. If you threw some whipped cream on top of that, oh, it would go through the roof. But I didn't make any today. So there you go. Oh, you took fresh strawberries, some basic chicken breasts that I cooked ahead, added some agave and pomegranate vinegar and some fresh lemon to the strawberries, made ourselves a nice sauce. Now, if I cook this longer and let it reduce further, it gets a little thinner. And that's what I do when I make my raspberry vinaigrette that I keep in the fridge. And let it down and let it cool completely. Put it in a clean bottle and keeps for quite a while. You can add some olive oil to it if you like. I prefer to do that as I serve. I like to just have just the straight fruit juice to begin with. But anyway, so that's all we did. So we ended up with a nice, healthy, protein-packed, but tasty, sweet, and zesty chicken salad, and an absolutely delicious little amped up strawberry shortcake with a touch of chocolate and a touch of bacon. And really, you can't go too far gone with all that. So, So come back and join me. Again, I'm sorry for the delay. We'll be back soon to do episode 39. And then episode 40, where Chris, my darling husband, will come back. And he has promised to make and demonstrate his signature Bloody Marys, which is quite a process. There won't be room for me here when he's doing it because of all the stuff he does. But anyway, in the meantime, be nice to one another, have fun, remember the promise, and I will see you soon. Thank you.